Shalom. All praises to the Heavenly Father. Hatun Yah. Praise be to the Earthly Mother, the Pachamama, and all of her earthly angels, their Kadeshua. Praise be to the Holy Spirit, the Kahe, in the name of Hamashiach, Motsah the land, unification to the nation. So guys, it's going to be a little bit of a continuation of the video that I did on the tribe of Sinim. Well, this is not necessarily focusing on the tribe of Sinim, and I just wanted to go over the Yunnan province a little bit. Now, as I said at the end of the video before, I'm not really getting into the history per se. I'm just pointing out the fact that there are a lot of scattered tribes in that province in particular. These people are not the same as the Han Chinese. They've intermixed with them, I'm sure they have, but they're ethnically and linguistically, they're not necessarily the same. At least they weren't the same. And I just want to point it out. Now, if anyone wants to do further research and figure out how they got there, where they come from, then, put it in the comment section. So we're going to start off. I spoke a little bit about the Wa Chinese a few videos ago and said that I was going to mention them. But these are one of these groups in the Yunnan province. The Wa people live mainly in Yunnan province. According to the 2000 census, the Wa ethnic minority has a total population of 396. I don't know how you even say that. 300,000, 360, 396,000. I think that's how you say it, yeah. In China, with some 383,000 in Yunnan province. The Wa people inhabiting the region between the Mekong River and Salween River live mainly in these areas, right? There are several different legends about the origin of the Wa ethnic minority. The Wa people came from Sing Yang Li, which means out of a gourd or a cave in a mountain. And I'm seeing a lot of the same mythology when it comes to the origin of many of these different tribes. They say that they came from out of a mountain, or they came from under an ocean, or something of the sort. And that might be a play on Agartha. I still haven't really gotten into that because I don't really know how to make sense of it. So I just kind of leave it alone. But also note that this wasn't necessarily what they were called before. They were always given different names. They were called Wangman, Guqi, and Kawa in the Tang, Ming, and Qing dynasties, respectively. With the founding of the People's Republic of China, they were formally named Wa by the government after unanimous approval of the people. And I should also note that a lot of these different dynasties that came after, like the Tang, the Ming, the Qing, this is after, I believe the Israelites got conquered. Because I believe that the ancient Israelites were in part, in some way in part of the Shi. I definitely believe that they were a part of the Shang, and they might have been a part of the Shao. But then when you get into later parts, then people start saying, oh, they must have got there after these periods. And you notice that you hear less and less about Chinese history when you get closer to the true origins. They only really tell the history of the modern day Chinese people. The language of the Wa ethnic minority, which includes 4 dialects, belongs to the Wa Diang branch of the Mon Khmer language of the Austroasiatic family. So this has a connection with Southeast Asia and those empires over there, like Cambodia, Indonesia, things of that sort. It has close relationships with the language of the Dai ethnic minority, from which 10% of the Wa words are borrowed. The Wa people previously had no written language. They kept records and accounts by woodcutting, bean counting, rope knotting, and engraving bamboo strips. They passed messages by using material objects. For example, sugarcane, bananas, and salt signified friendship. Chiles meant anger, cock feathers denoted urgency. The alphabetic script was created for them in 1957. And I just never believe people when they say so and so didn't have a written language, because they always said that the Inca never had a written language. But when you actually have an account of the Spaniards, they said that the Inca, they must be related to the ancient Chinese or the ancient Japanese, because they write their language in symbols, and they also write it from up to bottom, or top to bottom. So I'm like, wait a minute. If the Spaniards said that the Inca didn't have a language, why are they saying today that if the Spaniards are saying that they did have a language and it was similar to ancient Chinese and Japanese languages as far as how it's written, how come that today they say that they never had a language? So it just really does seem like they're trying to hide something, because if they were to show you the written language, then you might realize where they really come from and who they connect with. The Quechuan language has many I'm sorry, I'm like thinking all over the place. Let me slow down. The Quechuan language has many elements of Hebrew in it, right? So, of course, they're not going to show you their written language. They can't really stop people from literally speaking the language, but they can't get rid of it, especially if the written language is only kept by the priests and the kings. Let me see. There's something specific that I was looking for. The Wa ethnic minority boasts rich and colorful folklore, vivid myths, touching poems, and legends. Famous myths include Xing Yang Li, ancestors of the human being, the big snake is vomiting, and the origin of all things. The most popular of which is Sang Yang Li. The Wa people have created many oral stories to praise goddesses and justice, to attack perfidiousness and hypocrisy. The Old Man and the Crocodile is such a typical story. Singing and dancing are very important to the Wa people. At festivals, the Wa people, wearing their best customs, sing and dance day and night for several days. There are many forms of Wa folk dances, including the drum dance, pole dance, sword dance, plume dance, lishing dance, hand towel dance, string instrument dance, gong dance, bamboo flute dance, and bamboo flute dance. The subdivisions of drum dance are wooden drum dance, tom-tom dance, elephant foot drum dance, bronze drum dance, bamboo drum dance. Of these, wooden drum dance represents the characteristics of the Wa ethnic minority. The Wa people regard the wooden drum as a divine tool that has exceptional power and is the symbol of existence and prosperity. They believe in many gods, of whom Muji, is a powerful god that creates all things in the world and has the right to decide their life and death. Legend has it that, long ago, at the beginning of history, a disastrous flood devoured almost all the lives on land. It was Muiji that saved the Wa people with a wooden trout or drought, which later enabled them to survive and develop. Therefore, in most of the traditional sacrificial rites, the Wa people pay a high tribute to wooden drum worship of Muiji, praying for his blessings and singing and dancing. So is Muiji actually Motsah? Who knows? Wooden drum dance is a traditional dance that is performed to worship Muiji in the Jiru, month of the Wa calendar, the 12th month of the lunar calendar. It consists of 4 main parts: pulling wooden drum, dancing in the house of wooden drum, beating wooden drum, and offering sacrifices to Muiji, faithfully reproducing the solemn scenes of the ancient Wa people's unceasing and united struggle against nature and reflecting their yearning for a happy life. The most common wood drum dance is beating wooden drum. The Wa people use wooden drums and cymbals as major instruments, which are blended with songs and chanting, to create the main melody with strong and harmonious rhythm, full of encouragement and impulsion. Men wear red ribbons on their heads and wide pants. Women, with white ribbons on their heads, wear bracelets and skirts, and their long hair swings loose and wild. Let's skip down. Religion. The Wa people worship nature, believing that all mountains, rivers, and other natural phenomena have their deities. What does that sound like? Does that not sound like the religion of the ancients? And the knowledge of the holy watcher angels or the air Kadeshoi. The Peruvians call them the Apu, the spirits, the gods, right? It all connects. What this is really talking about is what they term as animism. Animism is the belief of innumerable spiritual beings concerned with human affairs and capable of helping or harming human interests. Animalistic beliefs were first competent. I don't know, but I'm not really trying to really like read. I'm just trying to. I don't know, bro. I have too many things on my mind. While none of the major world religions are animistic, though they may contain animistic elements, most other religions, those of tribal peoples, are. For this region, the ethnographic understanding of animism, based on field studies of tribal peoples, is no less important than a theoretical one, concerned with the nature or origin of religion. The term animism does not denote a simple creed or doctrine, but the view of a world consistent with a certain range of religious beliefs and practices, many of which may survive in more complex and hierarchical religions. Anyway, I ain't reading all that. I just want to note that. So yes, they're animistic, right? Just like the ancient Japanese, some tribes in Africa, right? And the Celtic religion, and obviously the Americas. So again, this is all part of the same branch of an ancient religion. It wasn't only the Israelites who were doing this, but these religious practices were passed down, to the Abrahamic peoples. So anytime you start to see stuff like this, they're either they're usually Shemites. You're either Shemites or really old Hamites. And the reason I'm saying really old Hamites is because Ham himself was righteous. It was his children who were wicked. So anyone who's living in that area of Ham's land, which is the area of Cush, which is the area of Nubia, the Sudan, they believe in these spirits even then, and they're one of the oldest people on earth. They believe in these things because Ham, he got on the boat with Shem, but Japheth never got on the boat. Japheth does not have a concept of these things. So the righteous among Ham and a lot of the people who descended from Shem, they do have these concepts because it was passed down to certain people. Let me see if there's anything I want to read here. So again, their language is the Austroasiatic linguistic family. So that means that they spawned from Southeast Asia, right? I'm not sure. I'm guessing this kind of means that they're more recent than, let's say, the ancient Tibetan peoples. They came from Southeast Asia. That's what it seems like. Um, and that is not necessarily always the Israelites. It could be the sons of Joktan as well. So I should also note that. But I am, you know, I am noting the fact that these people definitely seem to come from Shem. Let me see. One part of the Wa creation myth has similarities with the baptism of Jesus in the Jordan River. Story in the Bible. According to a Wa myth, as related by Wei Deming, many years ago, when the human beings took their first steps on Earth, they were like fetuses that never grew up, even when they got old. These fetus people could not talk, could not see, and could not hear. One day, Yanamu, one of the female ancestors of the Wa, led the people to a river, where they bathed and washed their heads. After that, the people opened their eyes to see, and their ears to hear, and their souls awoke. This myth also shows the importance of heads to the Wa, and explains why they hunted heads and expressed affection to lovers by combing their hair. Interesting. Let's keep going. There's some pictures. You already know how I do. You already know I'm going to get into some pictures. You already know. Due to their practice of headhunting, the Wa have long been characterized by outsiders as uncivilized, but the single characteristic paints a limited, prejudiced, and outdated picture of the southern Chinese ethnic group. We are pleased to introduce you to the Wa people of China. The Wa, also written Va, are one of the 56 officially recognized ethnic groups in China. The roughly 400,000 Chinese Wa live in the mountains of western Yunnan between Mekong and Salween rivers on the Myanmar. Okay. Here, the nature is wild and untouched, a perfect place to practice slash and burn agriculture and develop deep-rooted traditions. Since roughly 500 BC, Wa people have been living in the same territories they occupy today. However, their history wasn't recorded until the 19th century, when the British began to colonize Burma. The British were fascinated with the Wa practice of headhunting, which included human sacrifices to ensure a good harvest. Wow, doesn't that not sound like exactly what the Israelites were starting to do, because they got it from the Canaanites? You know, so I'm saying, yeah, it could be the sons of Joktan, but honestly, it sounds like the sons of Jacob to me. Such practices convinced the British that the Wa were untamable. This so-called primitiveness, mixed with the remoteness of the Wa homeland, left the Wa without direct British administration during colonial rule. Even the border with China was left undefined. Today, an estimated 19% of Wa identify as Christian, whether Christian or not. Most Wa remain largely traditional farmers who want little more than to be left alone. Let me see. Though many Wa cultural traditions have been carried into the 21st century, the practice of headhunting is not one of them. No longer do the Wa march through the streets with a rival's head on a three-pronged pitchfork. Well, doesn't this sound like what the Israelites did with, what is his name? Starts with an N. Nicanor. You know, does not sound like what the Aztecs were doing or what the Inca were doing. In fact, if I can find that. I can't remember those. I just saw it the other day. It was like a picture. Oh, that's Francisco Pizarro, the Negro. His black ass. I don't know, but I'll put it in the description if I can remember. But yeah, they also depicted them with them cutting off heads and stuff like that. Instead, cow sacrifice has taken its place, as the largely animist Wa still require blood to placate the gods and the evil spirits. See that? So, let's move on. Now we're getting into the Miao. The Miao are a colorful and culturally and historically rich ethnic minority that lives primarily in southern China, Laos, Myanmar, northern Vietnam, and Thailand. Originally from China, the Miao are animists and ancestor worshippers and have traditionally lived in villages located at 3,000 to 6,000 feet. They mostly live in Guizhou, Yunnan, Jiangxi, and Sichuan in southern China. The Miao are known in southeast as the Hmong, pronounced Hmong. I still pronounce the H just because I don't know, but it's Hmong. They are ethnically different and linguistically distinct from the Chinese and other ethnic groups in China and Southeast Asia. Even though they have intermarried a great deal with the Chinese, they are shorter and their eyes and faces look different than those of Chinese. The Miao can be quite different from one another. The difference between Miao and groups is often pronounced as between Maos and non-Maos. Hmong means free man. Miao means weeds or sprouts. The Chinese used to call them Hmong, meaning barbarians. Doesn't that sound familiar? Doesn't that sound what they were calling the Mongols? Right? The Karakatai. Are they a part of the same group of people? Did they label us as barbarians when they were barbarians? The Laotans, Vietnamese, and Thais call them the Miao, which means essentially the same thing as Mao. Hmong and Mao subgroups, red Mao, white Mao, strip Mao, cowrie, shell Mao, flowery Mao, black Mao, green Mao, blue Mao, are in most cases named the color of the woman's dress. There are two main groups in Southeast Asia, the white Hmong and the green Hmong. The Mao are one of the largest minorities in China. They are widely distributed all over bro, I'm always messing up this, but they're in those same places in southern China, with a small number living on the Henan Island in the Guangdong province and in southwest Hubei province. Most of them live in tight-knit communities, with a few living in areas inhabited by several other ethnic groups. The main Mao settlements are in the southeastern these different places. Right? The Mao have a very long history because they are scattered very widely. Mao in different places have quite different customs, and they go by many different names. After the establishment of the People's Republic in China in 1949, these disparate groups were given the standardized name Mao. I think that disparate, dispersed. It is believed that the ancestors of the Mao have been part of the Three South people, an ancient nationality that evolved from the Zong people of the Zhao dynasty. You see what I'm talking about? That's why I said, man, Zhao dynasty, I gotta start getting into that, man. The Shang and the Zhao
Moving day means you're in for a big
definitely have a good amount of history. During the Qing and Han dynasties, they mainly occupied western Hunan and eastern Eastern. Alright, I'm gonna try. Guizhou. Guizhou. Alright. Provinces and gradually moved and spread throughout the mountainous areas in southwestern China. Though legends and stories, the Miao assert their lineage stems from the ancient Zhuli people. Oh, the ancient Zhuli people. Let's see what we can get. Let's Google that real quick. I didn't see that before. Shiyu. Shiyu was a leader of the Nine Li tribe in ancient China. He was best known as a king who lost against the future Yellow Emperor during the Three Sovereigns and Five Emperors era in Chinese mythology. For the Hmong people, Shiyu was a sagacious mythical king. He was particularly complex and controversial ancestry. He may fall under Dongyi, Mao, or even Mon, which means barbarians, right? This is very interesting. Listen, I'm doing this in real time, bro. It's real time. Shiyu, and I believe. Wait a minute, bro. Real time stuff, bro. Real time stuff. This is real time stuff. What was this called? No, it's not the same thing. That's Kuyun. And that's Chiyu. Okay, never mind. Continuing. Chiyu is regarded as a leader of the Nine Li tribe by nearly all sources. However, his exact ethnic affiliations are quite complex, with multiple sources reporting him to belong to various tribes, in addition to a number of diverse peoples supposed to have directly descended from him. Some sources from later dynasties, such as the Guiyu book, consider Chiyu's Li tribe to be related to the ancient San Mao tribe. In the ancient Zuilu town is a statue of Chiyu, commemorating him as the original ancestor of the Hmong people. The place is regarded as the birthplace of the San Mao/Mao people, the Hmong people being a subgroup of the Mao. In sources following the Hmong view, the Nine Li tribe is called the Jiuli Kingdom. Jiuli, I hope I'm saying that right, bro. I'm really sorry. Meaning Nine Li. Modern Han Chinese scholar Wang Duijian considers Zhui Li and San Mao to be Man or barbarians, Southerners. Shiyu has been counted as part of the Dongyi. So there's a lot you could really dig on. But the fact is that particularly the Mao or the Hmong, it seems like they were there from a really long time ago. Right? Before the Han got there. Because they're a part of the Zhao dynasty. That's way before the Han, right? That's what I'm saying. When they're calling people barbarians, are they saying that when they actually are invaders? Right? Because the Han are invaders. They're not the original people. And if they are, then they weren't supposed to be on those lands. The Israelites apprehended those lands. But either way, there's no proof that they were there. These people could prove their ancestry and their antiquity, while the modern day Chinese cannot do that. Okay. Let me see. Let's skip down. Whoa. Chiyu is an ancient mythical, half bull, giant creature Is that Baal, the Phoenicians, the Canaanites, aka the Israelites? Because again, the Israelites took over the religions of Canaan, which definitely connects with bull worship, Baal worship, Saturn worship. It all connects, bro. As we've touched on so many times. Some consider the Miao to be the original inhabitants of the Chinese heartland of eastern China, predating the Han Chinese. Oh, oh. Some believe they originally came from the river valleys of what are now the Yunnan and Shaanxi provinces of south central China. Others believe they originated far north in the polar regions. The Miao were described in the ancient Chinese chronicle as a rebellious people that were banished from the central plains around 2500 BC. They were displaced by the Han Chinese invaders, but they're the barbarians. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Invaders from the north around 2000 BC and have been migrating southward and western to the mountains of southern China and Southeast Asia ever since. So this could be the tribe of Simeon or even the tribe of Judah. There's already connections with Khmer and the tribes of Judah. And or Simeon, because in the same area. According to the ancient historical records, the Miao settled in western Yunnan and eastern Guizhou during the Qin and Han dynasties over 2,000 years ago. In some cases, their migration have been as much as vertical, from the lowlands into the highlands, as horizontal across Asia. Often they ended up territories dominated by other non-Han Chinese ethnic groups, who subjugated and even enslaved them. The Miao were often the leaders in rebellions against the Chinese. Respect to the Miao. There are some references to the Miao in Chinese records from 1300 to 200 BC. From that time, around AD 1200, they are grouped with other minorities and collectively referred to as Southern Barbarians. After AD 1200, there are numerous references to the Miao, most of them descriptions of the Miao uprising against the Chinese state. As early as the Qin and Han dynasties in 2,000 years ago, the ancestors of the Miao people lived in the western part of present-day Hunan and the eastern part of present-day Guizhou. They are referred to as the Maos in Chinese documents of the Tang and Song period. So these are just a bunch of people who they've displaced, and they keep talking about them, they're noting them and everything. Very interesting. Like, damn. Let me see. And it seems like they keep rebelling against them. Let's move on, man. I'm gonna leave that link in the description. Now, as you can see here, this is supposedly the Israelites in Egypt. Now, I'm not paying attention to the other nonsense that they're putting, such as this skin color and these blue eyes and whatever, right? I'm just paying attention to the clothing. It's about the clothing. It's all about the clothing. This clothing is very particular. The Israelites wore colorful clothing. That's what they did. Stop paying attention to the skin color, whatever they could have changed. I don't care. Pay attention to the clothing. This is the clothing of the Hmong. You can see all these tassels that they're wearing on the front of their clothing, toward the bottom. They dressed almost identical to Native Americans, and it's because they kind of are. And this is supposed to represent dreadlocks, as it seems, of their ancient ancestry. These are Wa Chinese. Those two were Hmong Chinese, and these are Wa Chinese. These are all the different quote-unquote ethnic minorities of China. Right? You can tell by their face structure that they're not the same as the modern day Chinese people. They've mixed in with them, but they are not the same. They're not. They have more quote-unquote Shemitic features. These are more of the Wa Chinese. Sorry I can't get better pictures, but these are how big the pictures were. These are Hmong peoples, right? Again, they have mixed in with the Han for thousands of years. This is a Peruvian, but like I just want to show you the vast similarities that has to do with their clothing. The Israelites wear colorful clothing, bro. That's why you see it all over the place. They always wear colorful clothing. They stopped doing that after they went into captivity. But in ancient times, yes, they wore colorful clothing. Colorful. Now I'm going to play this video of the Wa Chinese. They're all about singing, dancing, mythologies, animism. Come on, man.
叫杨娜，是佤族，我是西蒙县文化和旅游局的一名基层的民族文化工作者。我从小就出生在佤寨，我的家在西蒙县的蒙凯镇，是在祖国的西南边陲一个民族县。 这个是佤文化的一个发源地，所以我从小就是听着老人拉着独弦琴，吹着我们的各种佤族乐器，然后唱着各种山歌，在这样的一个环境当中成长的，所以特别喜欢我们的佤文化。 佤族是一个会说话就会唱歌、会走路就会跳舞的民族。我们的佤族甩发舞跳起来特别的美。在重大的节庆日的时候，或者有宾客来到阿瓦乡的时候，会跳这个甩发舞。我们佤族姑娘们劳作回来以后，也会三五成群的聚在一起，几个人就会斗舞的这种甩头发。 所以长发也成为了佤族美女的一个标志。我虽然说是80后的女孩，但是我经历了其他80后的孩子没经历过的。你看，过去我们佤族的贫穷，到现在的过上幸福生活。 从过去的泥泞的羊肠小道到现在的大路，从过去的没学上，上不起学，到现在9年义务教育，在西蒙高中都不用交学费，只要考去大学，还有补助。我住过茅草房，我住过我们的挂瓦房，我也住过我们的石棉瓦房。 现在我们的安居工程也做完了，老百姓也住进了宽敞明亮的小洋楼里面。但是从外面的风貌，它都完全融入了我们佤文化的建筑，所以经历了一代一代的房子的变化，也见证了佤乡的变化，真的非常的大。
So I wanted to also show you this real quick because this is very important with the Miao culture, and you're gonna see how much they have or really have not kept of their culture, meaning they don't know jack squat about their culture, what they were doing before. They don't know anything about it. You're gonna see.
哦，明白明白。你们的生活有没有？
So they don't even wear their stuff anymore because it makes it difficult for them to work within, within China. You know, how hard would it be for me to work with these draping tasseled clothing, right? And I want to carry my rock and my big stick everywhere. Like, it's not gonna work, right? They want me to wear a suit and tie, right? Might not want me to have long hair. Same thing everywhere, bro. And people are gonna forget their customs after a while, especially them after they've been mixing in with them for thousands of years.
没有什么苗族的传统吗？还是现在就没有了？哦。
Now we are just like the Han Chinese. So the mission has been complete. The assimilation has been complete. That's what they really want. See, this is how Canaanites think. Let you marry our daughters, and let us marry your daughters, and let us be one people. Remember that? Remember that? That's what they want. That's what they want. This is what they want. This is why you don't mix with nations. This is what they want. I don't care if you call me a racist. I don't care if you think I'm an elitist. I don't give a shit. This is what they want, and this is evil.
He brought out some of his daughters.
Look at those beautiful Frenchies. That's probably not even how they looked before, but you can tell, bro. Like, this is stunning clothing.
And nieces who put on their traditional outfit just for me. You could hear it from a mile away. It jingles. And I was like, yes, this is awesome. Like, can't wait to just learn a bit more about this culture. And then I started asking them questions, and it became very quickly apparent that they didn't really know anything.
So she saw them, right? I'm sorry if the music's too loud. Their sound isn't loud enough. In fact, it isn't loud enough. So I'll just play it again.
Nieces who put on their traditional outfit just for me. You could hear it from a mile away. It jingles. And
so they put on the outfit for her. They don't go around wearing that. That's what they did for her.
I was like, yes, this is awesome. Like, can't wait to just learn a bit more about this culture. And then I started asking them questions, and it became very quickly apparent that they didn't really know anything. 有什么
So look, she started asking them questions. They don't know anything. Look.
其他关于苗族可以跟我说一下吗？
那种没有，就是现在我们这一帮嘛都是，就是不怎么懂那个苗族的。现在这一帮就像汉族一样，就跟汉族一样。
跟汉族一样是吧？
所以就苗族那些东西都忘了。
The one thing that
Now the mission has been complete. Even this woman, she looks, quote unquote, mixed. So that's also interesting. Let's show you more pictures. I believe these are wild people because they're not as mixed, but they also don't have as much culture. But yeah, you can see they really do remind me of Native Americans as far as their dress, and even some of their mannerisms. Right? You can see this woman right here looks what people would call as being a black American, what people would call as being black. They focus a lot on their clothing. That this clothing is very peculiar, very particular. Now this is way too short. I don't know what the hell they're wearing, but they still have the culture. I went over this in a few videos ago, but as you can see, the Wa Chinese, they would actually be classified as being Caucasian, but it's not that they're white. is talking about their anthropological category according, to what people would put them in. They would be considered as Caucasians. I'm just noting that. However, someone asked, "Are there any black Chinese?" And then this person answered, "The question is vague, and the label "quote unquote" black is not too helpful. I'm going to assume that the questioner doesn't mean African, and is simply talking about variation in skin pigmentation. Significant variety of skin colors can be observed within China's borders. Some of that variation is due to latitude, environment, and working conditions, and some is due to ethnicity. See, the term black does not mean African. Get that out your head. It doesn't mean African. Not all black people are the same. I don't care who gets offended. I don't care. I don't care. I'm gonna tell you the truth, and you're gonna like it. You don't have to like me. I don't care if you like me, but nigga, you gonna respect me. That's all I care about. You gonna respect me. You're gonna respect the Most High's knowledge that He has given me. I don't give a damn if people don't like me. It's okay. The Wa look much more like an ethnic group out of Burma, and sure enough, they live shadowed right along the border, with 2/3 of the Burmese side and 1/3 on the Chinese side. So yes, they would be considered dark pigmented, but the other person said that they would be also Caucasian. So what are they? What did they originally come from? A family of what? Black Caucasians. Whatever they're considering a Caucasian. But again, that's not what you think is a Caucasian. So, I think we've pretty much gone over what we need to hear. Many of the Wa are animists, and a small portion follow the derivative of either Buddhism or Christianity. The Wa were once known as the Wild Wa by the British due to their practice of headhunting. Now, who do you think this is? Please tell me. Where is he from? Let me know. Where is he from? Is he a mixed Chinese person? Is he like a black American who moved there? What happened? Like, give me a guess. Give me a guess. Time's up. Alright, give me another guess. Where do you think he's from? Someone asked why Chinese band NZBZ has a black member. Ni Chang is an ethnic Wa from Yunnan province. This dude is 100% Wa Chinese. He is the same people as these people. He's black though, but he's not African. Do you understand the difference? Not the same. He has the face of a lot of so-called Chinese people that I've seen. But he's black. Come on, man. What? Let me guess. Let's see. This is how foolish people think. They'll see him and they'll say, "Oh, see, yeah, those are the Israelites." But then I'll show pictures like this. I'm like, "Oh, but those are mixed people." What the hell? Like, nigga, he come from the same people. Like, what? Anyway, the Yi people are also another ethnic minority in China, and they wear the exact same clothing, tassels on their clothing, right? They play a bunch of string instruments, and everything else, right? You see this one right here? She's dressing almost exactly like a Peruvian. Almost exactly like a Peruvian. Looks like a Peruvian, dressing like a Peruvian. Peru is associated with what? The tribe of Judah. Maybe the tribe of Simeon too, I don't know. But it definitely is associated with the tribe of Judah. Ziklag is a city of the tribe of Judah. So it's one or the other. So it would make sense why they look the same. More pictures. More pictures. I've showed some of these pictures before. And let me see. Let me see if I even feel like reading this. This is not that long, so I honestly might just leave this in the description. But it's just Lost Tribes of Israel in the Pacific and Asian Rim. I think that was it anyway. Let me see, I'll read some of it. The most obvious Israeli influence on China is the Chinese practice of Yunnan, which literally means Passover festival, and has been changed to the term of the Spring Festival or New Year celebration after the overthrow of the Manchurian rulership. No, the New Year festival has always been something that's more ancient than the Passover. Yeah, I don't feel like reading this. You guys could look into this. I'm sure he has a lot of great information. And I have some more videos to release later on, hopefully. So, may peace be with you.